ASEAN is a partnership between 10 Southeast Asian countries. Through growing connectivity and embracing innovative technologies, we can withstand global challenges and empower our economies.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To my teacher and to my friends, my name is Nur Shafini Nazwa binti Zakapli, and I will present about the introduction of the ASEAN Regional Forum. First of all, about the history of ASEAN Regional Forum. The ASEAN Regional Forum was established in 1994. ASEAN Regional Forum is the part of Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which officially known as Asean Regional Forum, that refer to the key forum for security dialogue in Asia. The 26th ASEAN Ministerial Meeting and Ministerial Conference, which were held in Singapore on 23 and 25 July 1993, agreed to establish the ASEAN Regional Forum. The first meeting of the ASEAN Regional Forum was held in Bangkok on 25 July 1994. Then, for the function and objective of ASEAN Regional Forum. ASEAN Regional Forum is an important platform for security dialogue in the Indo-Pacific. It offers an environment in which members can address current security issues and develop cooperative initiatives to strengthen the region peace and security. The ASEAN Regional Forum is to foster constructive dialogue and consultation on political and security issues of common interest and concern. This also to make significant contributions of efforts toward confidence building and preventive diplomacy in the Asia-Pacific regions. Then, for the party involved in ASEAN Regional Forum, it comprises 27 members, which are the 10 ASEAN member states, the 10 ASEAN dialogue partners. Then the other member is Bangladesh, Democratic Republic of Korea, Mongolia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, East Timor, and Papua New Guinea.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nolisa binti Rothman, and I will continue the presentation with the benefits towards ASEAN members. Okay, the first benefits is the ASEAN Regional Forum, or ARF, promotes confidence in the Southeast Asia region through cooperative activities with the great superpowers, because great superpowers countries possess nuclear power, and because of that, there is a dangerous side effect towards the Southeast Asia region. First of all, the nuclear power industry has improved the safety and performance of reactors, and also proposed new safer reactors, but there is still no guarantee whether the reactors will be operated correctly, because it's still generally it's still untested. Because of mistake can occur at, for example, such as Fukushima in Japan, which they did not anticipate that a tsunami generated by such an unexpected large earthquake will disable their backup system that were supposed to stabilize the reactor after the earthquake. And one of the reasons to test the reactors so that it can prevent from property damage caused, that included destruction of the properties, environmental remediations, evacuation, and also court claims, because nuclear weapon plants are large and complex. Therefore, accidents on site tend to be relatively expensive. And we also know there's the world's worst nuclear accident that has been in the 1986 Chernobyl plantation disaster in the Soviet Union. Okay, other than that, in Kalpakkam, India also, there's a restructuring events that leads on the 4th of May 1987, where there's a test that have made the decision because of the test weapon was important because it sets India on the path of nuclear weaponization, and because of this test, it has made a South Asia country more dangerous place because it possibly a less stable one, and because of a single nuclear detonation over a major ASEAN city can produce considered a devastation, which a small nuclear war will be an unprecedented catastrophe for a region. Therefore, if there is a major one, would have global physical, environmental, and biological repercussions. Okay, the party that's involved are United States of America, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and also Israel. Okay, because of this dangerous side effect, ASEAN ARF have made a treaty, which is the Southeast ASEAN Nuclear Weapon Free Zone Treaty, or for the short form is SEAN WFZ. Okay, this treaty is for political and security cooperation, is an important area for ASEAN member state. In 1971, which is 4 years after the signing of Bangkok Declaration, ASEAN member states signed the Zone of Peace, Freedom and Neutrality, or ZOFAN, because the aim is to ensure that the region's freedom from any form or manner from interference by outside powers, and also to make sure that they can broaden the areas of cooperation that will contribute to the strength, solidarity, and closer relations among the members of states. Therefore, the Treaty of SEAN WFZ was implemented and was signed by ASEAN's leaders on 15 December 1995 in Bangkok, Thailand. The treaty included a protocol for the 5 nuclear weapon states to comply in order to recognize the support of SEAN WFZ. Okay, so the 5 nuclear weapon state is USA, Russia, UK, France, and China. Yes. The first protocol is not to develop, manufacture, acquire, possess, or have control over nuclear weapons, so that station nuclear weapons, and also test or use nuclear weapons anywhere inside or outside the treaty zones. Second protocol is not to take any action to assist or encourage the manufacture or acquisitions of any nuclear explosive device by any states. The third one is not to provide sources or special fissionable materials or equipments to any non-weapon state or any nuclear weapon state unless subject to safeguards agreement with the International Atomic Energy Agency. And the fourth is to prevent in the territory of state parties the stationing of any nuclear explosive device. Next, to prevent the testing of any nuclear explosive device. And the last one is to not to dump radioactive waste and other radioactive matters and by anyone in the territorial sea of the state parties. And if there is any dispute arise from the interpretation of the provisions of this treaty, it shall be settled by peaceful means as may be agreed upon by the state parties to the disputes. And This Sean WFZ also has become one of the cornerstones in the ASEAN Political Securities Committee, so that it can provide the foundation for all 10 parties to cooperate on keeping Southeast Asia free from nuclear weapons and also as other weapons of mass destruction. This demonstrates ASEAN effort in contributing to the global non-proliferation regime. That's all from me. Thank you.
The ASEAN Free Trade Area (AFTA) is a trade bloc agreement by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, supporting local trade and manufacturing in all ASEAN countries and facilitating economic integration with regional and international allies. It stands as one of the largest and most important free trade areas (FTA) in the world, and together with its network of dialogue partners, drove some of the world's largest multilateral forums and blocs, including Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, East Asia Summit, and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. The AFTA agreement was signed on 28 January 1992 in Singapore. When the AFTA agreement was originally signed, ASEAN had 6 members, namely Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. Vietnam joined in 1995, Laos and Myanmar in 1997, and Cambodia in 1999. AFTA now comprises the 10 countries in ASEAN. All of the 4 latecomers were required to sign the AFTA agreement to join ASEAN, but were given longer time. The main objectives of the AFTA are to create a single market and an international production base, attract foreign direct investments, and expand intra-ASEAN trade and investments. AFTA was also created as a response to other emerging regional groupings such as the North American Free Trade Area (NAFTA) and the expansion of the European Union (EU). The global trend for regional groupings or trade blocs in the 1990s, coupled with uncertain implications of the New World Order, had led the ASEAN countries to seriously work out a plan to strengthen economic cooperations and maximize the region's potential growth through a liberalization of intra-ASEAN trade and investment. In reality, formation of FTAs contain both trade creation and trade diversion effects and may increase or decrease member welfare depending on the relative strength of the two opposing forces. The larger the number of countries, the more countries included in the FTA, and the larger their size, the more likely that low-cost producers will be found among member nations. Furthermore, many emerging markets of traditional economies that rely on farming for most employment. Furthermore, the poor working conditions of multinational companies may outsource jobs to emerging market countries without adequate labor protections. Next is the degradation of the natural resources, where the emerging market countries often do not have many environmental protections, so that free trade leads to depletion of timber, minerals, and other natural resources. However, free trade agreements are contracts between countries to allow access to their markets. FTAs can force local industries to become more competitive and rely less on government subsidies, where they can open new markets, increase GDP, and invite new investments. Every country must balance the domestic benefits of free trade agreements with their consequences. Local companies also receive access to the latest technologies from their multinational partners. As local economies grow, so do job opportunities. Multinational companies provide job training to local employees as well. Free trade agreements allow global firms access to these business opportunities. When the multinationals partner with local firms want to develop the resources, they can train them on the best practices. In businesses, especially those in monopolistic and oligopolistic markets, it can become sluggish. So with the formation of FTA, Trade barriers among members are greatly reduced or eliminated, and producers can become more efficient to effectively compete with foreign firms. Some may succeed, but some may merge with other firms, or others will go out of business. The higher level of competition is also likely to stimulate the development and adoption of new technology and new products. The result will be lower costs of production and lower consumer prices for goods and services, new products, and improvements in product quality. Since the AFTA includes ASEAN Investment Area (AIA), a free movement of labor and capital is likely to stimulate more efficient use of the economic resources of the entire bloc. Overall, efficiency of industries and individual firms will likely increase access to lower the cost capital and additional labor, where lower consumer costs and higher real incomes should be followed.
The Asian Regional Forum (ARF) also can protect the human rights of people in the region of Southeast Asia. The issues of human trafficking have been facilitated by economic globalizations, the wide market access for cheap labor and also cheap products multiply the opportunities for traffickers to benefit from the exploitation of vulnerable victims. Globalizations has thus increased the probability that consumers of goods and services are indirectly connected to human trafficking. For instance, to the child being forced to stage football balls, to the migrant compelled to work as a fisherman in slave-like conditions, and to the teenagers who run away from home and end up being a victim of sex trafficking near a tourist destinations. So, according to the Work Free Foundation's Global Slavery Index 2016, in Southeast Asia, Thailand is the main destination for trafficking victims from Cambodia, Laos, and also Myanmar. One of the Asian country also, which is Malaysia, our country also has been destinations for the victims from Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. So, according to the UNO DC report, there is 51% of victims in East Asia in categories of women, children, that comprising nearly a third. So, with these issues, make the Asians come out with the solution, which is Asians came out with the Asians Human Rights Declarations on the 21st Asian Summit in Cambodia in year 2020. So one of the general principles that stated in that declaration stated that every person has the right to an effective and enforceable remedy to be determined by a court or other competent authorities to act violating and right granted to that person by the constitution or by the law. So the purpose and principle of Asian as enriched in the Asian Charter, in particular to the respect for and promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedom, as well as the principle of democracy, the rule of the law, and also the good governance. Asians convinced that this declaration will help to establish a framework for human rights cooperation in the region and contribute to the Asian community building process. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Tengku Azlani. I will explain how ARF counter on the issue of the terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, issue of the terrorism has happened not just in the ASEAN country but also in the world at large. To show the response and the stand with the solidarity on issue of 9/11 has been opened the eyes of the ARF on the issues of terrorism, and all the officials have been sit and agree that terrorism become an immediate, direct and long-term threat to the peace and stability of every country in the world at large. We can see from here that terrorists become one of the threat to the world, and also on the region of ASEAN and also to the member of ARF. The official has been sit and discussed on the ARF meeting in 2003 and discussed on the counter-terrorism has came out with the establish of the intersectional crime, also known as ADS560, where this meeting has been chaired by Malaysia and United States of America, USA. This movement suggests by ARF as one of the collective securitizations when securitizations of terrorism. This movement have more active and more efficient when the Bali bombing of October 2002 happened, and ARF has been came out and committed to counter terrorism by providing workshop and also planned on managing the consequences of major terrorist attack. We can see that one of the workshops has been hosted by Australia and Singapore in June 2003, which is this workshop is a one of initiative that included interactive desktop exercise that deal with the hypothetical attacks of terrorism. Next, the IRF also adopt a key document on cooperative counter-terrorism action that has emerged from ISM-CTTC into strengthen border security were organized along four heading. Firstly is movement of the people, secondly is goods, thirdly is document security, and lastly is general measure. This is how ARF came up with an idea in the counter of issue the terrorism, ladies and gentlemen. This we can see and opens the eyes of ARF to more secure and to cooperate in a counter of the issue and terrorism because of the two events, which is 9/11 and also the Bali bombing, which has happened on October 2002. Most of the proposed measures will be to be taken nationally, such as strengthening law enforcement and intelligence capability. This can show that ARF has been complex and discussed in between the country in the members of the ARF, such as Malaysia, Indonesia, and so on, and also involve the one of the countries such as Australia, which they have more capabilities in the counter of terrorism and so on. The action in combating the terrorism are carried out until this day, which ARF is always focusing on with an updated plan. For we can see the ARF not just stay in that time, but they are always come forward with new plan, new method in a counter terrorism and so on, and also discuss the new threats such as cyberbullying and so on in the sitting of the ARF Asia Regional Forum with the members every year, and discussing and came up with the plan. Next, we can see recently ARF has been taking place throughout the video conference have been placed on the 12th September 2020, which has been hosted by Vietnam. which is they came out with the plan which is known as a Hanoi Action Plan 2, starting from 2020 until 2025. This plan consists of the strategy, also program that will be helped by the state in combating the issue that have been discussed throughout the meeting, such as on issue of the terrorism. The action plan has been taken throughout the mutual benefit plan. It means the ARF has been came out the plan in a counter of the terrorism. For example, one of it is Hanoi Action Plan, which this plan are discussed about how method to counter the terrorism that happen nowadays. The members of ARF also committed to provide high cyber security to all of the members by developing the system and the plan on issue of the cyber security. This is taking place. This is been one of the came out came out after the ASEAN Regional Forum take place on the 12th September 2020. So they also discussed about the cyber security. This happened because cyber security is one of the issues and problems that happen nowadays, and also terrorism also can be spread throughout the cyber and so on. That's why they come out with the plan, with the cyber security plan under the Hanoi Action Plan. This is how ARF committed in the combating on the issue terrorism. They counter with the plan and also teach other ASEAN member and ASEAN Regional Forum member how to counter the terrorism with the plan, and they are discuss about it in the forum. For example, Hanoi Action Plan is a new plan introduced by ARF as one is initiative to counter terrorism, and also, and not just that, there's a lot of things that they are discussed in the ARF, such as human trafficking and so on. But the most important thing that they look up is a terrorism, because terrorism is one of the issue that become threat to the world at large. Basically, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Nabila and I'm going to explain about the last benefit of ARF. Okay, literally, the ASEAN Regional Forum, ARF, can resolve a dispute that occurs in the Southeast Asian region through the multilateral setting. Okay, this can be shown through the issue of, or we say the conflict between ASEAN members on the issue of South China Sea. Okay, specifically the Spratly Island territorial disputes. Okay, why these islands become conflicts is because that the Spratly Islands are located in the so-called South China Sea. Okay, Spratly Island consisting of several small islands, the reef, atolls and rocks, and the Spratly Islands have been claimed whole or in part by the People's Republic of China and also the Republic of China, ROC or Taiwan we call, and the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia and Brunei. Okay, so in the classification, three of claimant states, Vietnam, ROC, PRC, their claims is based on the historical facts. Okay, but the other three states, Philippines, Brunei and Malaysia, we are focused on the international law and convention where they justify their claims. Okay, so multilateral conflicting territorial claim over these features makes it one of the world's most complex maritime disputes. Okay, it is so difficult to resolve the dispute or the conflict that happened regarding the Spratly Island. Okay, so ARF function to solve this problem through the multilateral setting. Multilateral setting means we are involving various parties, okay, to find the best solution for all the parties involved in that conflict. Okay, and why is this the important reason for this claim is that first, why everybody wants to claim this pride in island? Okay, the first reason is national security, you know, because these islands are important due to their location in South China Sea, where many American ships pass through to supply ASEAN Pacific goods, people, and also the energy product. Okay, and as Spratly Island is located in one of the busiest shipping routes, so control over this island features require control over trade in this area. Okay, meaning to say that whenever the country conquered those, whenever the country conquered the Spratly Islands, mean to say they have a very powerful in terms of national security towards this area. Okay, the second reason is that it is about energy security. Okay, the Spratly Islands are considered indispensable in this region due to the potential sources of natural gas and oil found under the seabed of the island. Okay, as we know, petroleum is the most wanted natural resources for all countries. Okay, because it gives a very lot profit towards some country, you know, and they can give well to some countries. So so this is the reason why they are claiming over these islands. Okay, because whoever conquered the natural gas and oil in this region, in this Spratly Island region, so literally will give a very, very beneficial wealth to such country. Okay, so the last reason is that its importance in the global maritime and military navigation. No global maritime power can overlook the South China Sea because all maritime traffic passes through this section, through this change of island. So the South China Sea connects the southwest with Indian Ocean through Malacca and Singapore Straits, and it connects northeast to the East China Sea, which connect to Japan and Korea. Meaning to say that it is important, okay, to have, to overlook this South China Sea. So these issues has been discussed in the ASEAN Regional Forum. Okay, so the South China Sea was reportedly as the top security issue on Cambodia recent ARF meeting agenda. So prior to this ARF meeting, ASEAN foreign minister announced their intention to negotiate with China on the Code of Conduct (COC) tax in the South China Sea. So consequently, the ASEAN Secretary General, once the COC is been signed on November 2002 and then recognized as the Declaration of Conduct of Parties, DOC. So the first declaration is that reaffirm their respect and commitment to navigational freedom in and above the South China Sea as provided by the university recognized by the international law. Okay, as I still remember when we study IR last semester, it's mentioned that according to this international law, so any state claim up to 12 nautical miles of territorial sea and up to 200 nautical miles of EEZ. EEZ means that exclusive economic zone and continental shelf area. So when this declaration being mentioned, okay, so every parties involved in the declaration must obey such law, okay, to avoid any disputes that later will occur regarding the South China Sea. And then the second one is that resolve their territorial and jurisdictional dispute by peaceful means without resorting to threat or use of force through friendly consultation and negotiation by directly concerned sovereign state in accordance with university recognized principle of international law. Meaning to say that they must not have any kind of threats between ASEAN members or even China itself, because as we know that China is a great superpower. So when they sign this declaration, they must not have any threat towards each other, towards each other country. Okay, last but not least, okay, exercise self-restraint in conducting activities that will complicate or escalate dispute and affect the peace and stability. So this means that the ASEAN members itself or the China must control themselves from creating disputes that later will escalate to the will have the bad impact towards the regional peace and stability, because we already have the law. Why you want to create another chaos situation, why you want to create a question on this matter? These islands is belong to who, belong to what country and so on, because it already stated in the law. Just follow the law. Okay, once you want to create another chaos situation, another disputes, because it's already settled in the declaration of conduct of parties. So this is all from me. Thank you.
Okay, for the conclusion of the ASEAN Regional Forum, we can conclude that the formation of ASEAN Regional Forum will gradually evolve into a platform for the promotion of regional security, stability and tranquility. The ASEAN Regional Forum could become a influential Asia-Pacific consultative forum. The ASEAN Regional Forum led to the development of new institutions with a narrower. In order to achieve a more predictable and productive pattern of ties in the Asia-Pacific, ASEAN should collaborate with its ASEAN Regional Forum partners. Lastly, a great deal of innovation and inequality will be required to keep the ASEAN Regional Forum moving forward. Thank you.